I love sandwiches. Remember they turned him into a big fucking idiot?
Oh, it seemed with Homer Simpson, they two at some point had a collision. No, at some point it feels bad at laughing at Homer, man.
Those early seasons of Friends, Joey's really funny and
He's
charming and
smooth
stuff.
and he's a ride and he's got curtains and he's pure like, hey, how you doing?
And then by like season 8 or 9, it's just like Joey is borderline mentally disabled.
I remember he wants to take his scooter out and play with it in the street and all that, and I heard Channel 5 are showing they Friends now.
Aye, that's right, aye.
Who's showing Joey?
Me?
Matt LeBlanc, if you ask. Hey, Ryan, would you like some pie for the road? 4 college buddies embark on a road trip to retrieve an illicit tape mistakenly mailed to a female friend. Woo! Man, we're taking the pie on the road.
Man, there's a lot of pie in this.
Dirty summer.
Yep. Titty movies.
Not just titties in this, my friend.
No, I know, but this is like a classic teen sex comedy. Round about the same time American Pie. These were everywhere in this time period.
Not as raunchy as I remember, though.
Not at all, no.
Did you get that as well?
Well, there is... When I logged on, I watched this on Paramount Plus for anyone who cares, and it was the theatrical version. There was an unrated version with the 8, like, unrate, the number 8. Rated, it was called. Because they're using text speak, because it was 2000. Version, but that cost like £3.49 to rent, and I was just like, I'm no renting for like an extra scene with her titties.
I imagine unrated cut on the DVD cover looking like a big red fucking stamp. You know how they love to do that?
No, it wasn't a red stamp, it was like an envelope, but like, see, like, obviously this movie centres around a parcel. It was like an envelope, but it'd been like peeled back.
I think this movie has fantastic attention to detail like that. See in the poster, they clearly rip off American Pie. They are covered by a map.
Yep.
All of them. The movie logo Road Trip, it's on like an interstate sign.
Yep.
I think I watched the theatrical. I certainly knew scenes were cut when I was watching them because I remembered them going on. I will watch this every other year.
I've not seen this movie in about 10 years. Maybe more. It's been a while since I watched this movie.
Yeah.
Watched it a bunch. Watched Eurotrip a bunch also. I've probably seen Eurotrip more, actually.
Eurotrip took on a life of its own, man.
Yeah.
Like, it had some moments Scotty doesn't know is still excellent. One of the best cameos. We should
do that movie. Yeah. This movie, I believe I owned on VHS.
Oh, is it?
And I watched it a lot when I was a kid, but I hadn't seen it since I was a kid. Didn't know that this was a Todd Phillips movie.
Wow, okay.
Didn't know Ivan Reitman was involved. Didn't know it was DreamWorks, that's weird.
Old School's kinda dirty.
That's a pretty dirty film, yeah. The unrated version of Old School, the start of it, when it's like a gangbang.
One of the funniest scenes to open your movie. Juliette Lewis is so great in that movie. Todd Phillips is so interesting. He's evolved past this now. Mm-hmm. It's fair to kind of say with Joker. Judy was kind of his last other comedy aside from the Hangover series. Because part 3 of the Hangover is like an adventure movie. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Judy with Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis. Yeah,
quite funny. It's okay.
Pretty funny. Got a couple of chuckles at me. I went to see that with a bunch of friends. Like, I don't do this often. I usually go to the cinema myself or with my wife or something, but I went to see this like a bunch of mates. And it was probably a better experience then, like seeing it with other people, but it wasn't that funny when I seen it years later on DVD.
They really marketed it as a comedy and it's a drama.
It's quite serious at times, and it's quite dark, yeah.
Road Trip,
a movie that is not dark.
Not at all, and it's pretty innocent. There's no stuff.
Oh, don't you start.
There's no stuff.
There's some stuff in this.
There's some stuff. This Road Trip logo is banging!
The movie opens with a tour guide giving these parents and their kids a tour of this university. The tour guide is Tom Green. And Tom Green is sort of the narrator of the movie.
He's so funny in
He's
this.
the linchpin of this movie. Tom Green, I don't know. Maybe I'm underestimating the listeners of this podcast. Do people still know who Tom Green is?
Not now, definitely.
Well, there'll be
not.
younger people that like.
Not younger folks.
Like
no.
an 18 or 19-year-old won't know who Tom Green is. But Tom Green was fucking everywhere in the 90s and early 2000s. Remember last week you spoke about Celebrity Deathmatch?
Yeah.
He's a Celebrity Deathmatch kind of guy. Him, Pauly Shore, these kind of guys, Carrot Top. Do you know what I mean? Like all these arseholes. Tom Green is hilarious in this movie.
He is so great in this.
So funny in this movie.
Those little murmurs, like this intro with this tour group, and he's like, "Don't be a straggler. I don't like stragglers."
That's another thing that I've wrote here that I didn't bother to research it because I wanted just to. I kind of don't want to know. He must have improved all of this because you can't write this stuff down, the stuff that he says and the way that he says it.
And it's also just Tom Green being Tom Green. So
yeah, he doesn't go full Tom Green though. See, here's the thing about Tom Green. Some of his stuff I find really funny. Some of the stuff that he done on MTV and stuff I did not find funny, especially the animal stuff.
He does kind of gross out stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of, yeah.
He does it in this movie as well. See, and we'll get to it, but see the whole mouse stuff. It's funny,
It's
but also
weird.
quite disgusting, man. So he's hit and miss. He can be, if left to his own devices, a bit too much, and it doesn't work. But in this movie, he's in it just enough where he's really funny.
He had such a short window as well. I remember my last certainly my last cinematic experience with him was Stealing Harvard with Jason Lee.
Didn't see it.
I think it'll be better in reflection, but at the time it was mad.
Yeah. One of the best parts of the movie, I would say. He's really funny. And he's not in it a lot, so he doesn't overstay his welcome.
He is through the whole narrative, though. It's kind of impressive.
Yeah, he's weaved into it, but I mean, he's not one of the 4 main road trippers. I think the fact that he's kind of narrating it makes
it was a smart decision to leave him at the base.
Yep.
It was. He's given this tour to this group of sort of. This becomes quite funny because they sort of bond towards the end of the movie.
This group hate him at the start. He says that he's been going to school for 8 years.
That's a good gag. This all happened just a year before.
Mm-hmm.
They have just all graduated, and that is so funny for some reason because he says it's the greatest story ever told. Tom Green's given this tour. You recognise some faces in the tour group.
Ethan Suplee.
Oh, yeah. And he's good in it.
Yeah, it's good. Yep.
By the end of the movie, he sort of breaks down and thanks him and gives him a big hug.
Yeah.
Suplee is brilliant at that.
Really good.
Given this tour, he gets all the info wrong about the place. The opening of the college date is totally wrong. He calls a student a wise ass.
That's right, yeah.
Green walks him through the college's courtyard, says he's been a test subject, and they will too. The group pure slag him, and it's glorious. A parent asks how long he's been going to school here. He says 8 years, and the dad makes a face like...
You walk past the library, says this is built in the 1800s, and she says it was built in 1951, it says it on the side.
And he says, that's the postcode.
Like, and he's not been over the top crazy, it's just really funny script.
Every time we go back, it's as good or better than the narrative of the 4 guys. The group's turned on him at this point, and one of the group's dads says that Tom Green thinks it's the coolest school ever because he's never been anywhere else. Green's raging, but says this school is a setting for the greatest story ever told.
Yes, and then it sort of it fades into like a voiceover where Green's telling the tour the story, but also is telling now us, the audience, the story.
We're part of the tour.
Yeah, we're part of the tour, basically. Transitions into this little
Super 8
montage.
footage.
Yeah, Super 8 footage of our 2 main characters, I guess, Josh and Tiffany, grown up. They grew up, childhood sweethearts, went to high school together, first girlfriend, all that sort of shit.
They make a pact, to stay faithful and talk every day.
And then it cuts to Tiffany getting banged against a tree.
This guy comes up, man, and and it turns out it's Josh having a dream.
Yeah, he's having a nightmare, but
it's this porno scene.
It's
basically.
a pure porno. Basically, Tiffany's walking through school. She looks fine. And then some guy comes up to me, he's like, hey Tiffany, how you doing? And she says something like, oh great, I came twice last night or something. And he's like, do you want to make it 3 times? And pure rips off her shirt immediately and bangs her against a tree.
Against a tree. It's the great Rachel Blanchard.
Yes, from Flight of the Conchords.
Clueless TV show and amazing in Peep Show.
Peep Show, yes, she's in Peep Show and Flight of the Conchords as well. Yeah. Anyway, he basically sends her a video message. So Tom Green comes back, he's in Barry. Just to set the scene for the movie, we've got Josh, who is our main character.
Breckenmeyer.
And then we've got his best friend, I guess, Ruben.
Joey's nephew.
Joey's nephew from the sitcom Joey.
I call him that only. Paolo Costanzo, I believe it is. He was in a really cool movie called Splinter in 2008.
I think I remember that.
Gas Station.
Real good. I think he's real good in this film.
Aye, he balances it out.
Yeah, so he's Ruben. He's his kind of smart roommate / friend. Then there's Tom Green, who is Barry. And then he's not introduced in this scene, but there's E.L., which is a really weird name for a character. He's Stifler, but slightly less annoying than Stifler.
He's great in this again.
But he's playing Stifler. He's not really doing much. He's
perfectly in between American Pie 1 and 2, by the way, comes Road Trip.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
And you can tell he just starts spiking up and growing the fringe a bit.
To round off the group of 4, or the group of 5 really, but Barry doesn't go on the road trip. So the 4th member of the road trip is Kyle Edwards, is that his name?
Kyle Edwards, played by DJ Qualls.
Who...
He's a wee wiener.
He plays the same guy. And don't get me wrong, he's got a look to him. Let's just put it that way. He looks like he's a wee high school kid.
I mean, he was cast as this forever.
That's what I'm saying.
He would go on to be in Hustle and Flow.
He was also in Road Trip Beer Pong. Like a straight-to-DVD
Obviously he was, man. Who else?
He was the only one of the original cast that stayed.
I think if... How much is Breckenmeyer asking?
Oh, he would do it again, aye.
And Barry is really wanting to see Ruben feed this snake.
He is obsessed. This is a theme throughout the movie. He is obsessed with Ruben's pet snake. And more specifically, obsessed with seeing it feeding on a mouse.
Can I see it? Josh asks Joey's nephew to mail the tape. So that tape that he made, that diary tape, he's Joey's nephew.
I know. That, aye.
Joey Tribbiani.
I love sandwiches. Remember they turned him into a big fucking idiot?
Oh, it's same with Homer Simpson. They two at some point had a collision. No, at some point it feels bad at laughing at Homer, man.
Those early seasons of Friends, Joey's really funny and
he's
charming and stuff.
And he's a ride and he's got curtains and he's pure like, hey, how you doing?
And then by like season 8 or 9, it's just like Joey is borderline mentally disabled.
I remember he wants to take his scooter out and play with it in the street and all that, and Rachel's like, don't drive
Don't
in the
play
road
in the street, aye. He's got, him and Tag.
I heard Channel 5 are showing their Friends now.
Aye, that's right, aye.
Who's showing Joey? Matt LeBlanc, if you ask. We get Anthony Rapp as Jacob.
Oh, he is a villain in this movie.
You know who he is, man?
No.
He's the one that started the fire with Spacey, man. That's the accuser.
Really?
Yeah. That's Anthony Rapp, man.
But he's a wee dick in this movie. He's a pure villain.
Great villain, though, man.
Oh, great villain, because he's pure slimy sleazeball. He's not actually a student.
He's a TA.
What does that mean? A
Teaching
teacher assistant?
Yeah.
He looks like a student, like age-wise. He looks the same age as
You're
them.
a fucking prefect, man.
That's what it is. It's a wee Benson.
Fucking narc, man.
Aye. Fucking scummy grass and bastard.
Get you, man.
Bitches get stitches. Said that wrong. Snitches get...
You can't be like that in the street, man. They'll get you.
That's what undercover cop down, man.
You only finish your sentence.
First 5 minutes of the party, I'm dead. Jack Nicholson was re-crucified.
You don't even make it to the roof.
I get shot off.
Oh, you've been seeing these pictures of Nicholson out and about?
Aye, good for him, man.
90, man, and he's just in basketball games like this.
He looks like he's dead. Somebody's operating him from the inside. Like,
the alien in Men in Black. I said it before you's the
You
worst
stole
part.
Men in Black.
You've conditioned me. Let's just talk about how much we love Amy Smart again,
She's
man.
amazing.
She's the best, man.
She's so good. And she's beautiful, man.
She is stunning and so fucking cool in this movie, man. What she does for him is amazing.
And she's like hot as all fuck as well. Like, see that, like, we'll get to it, but see the sex scene they have later on? Wow, it does
Can
it for
I
me.
say something about that?
Uh-huh.
I really like that she gets to show her titties and
Yeah.
she's not punished for it. She actually gets to be a character after
Yeah.
that act as well.
I can't believe that as well. I don't remember that at all. I'm like, Amy Smart get topless? That's amazing.
I know.
I didn't realise that. I was well chuffed.
She-
You know, that was in my wall.
She looks beautiful, man.
Right, no,
Like,
she does. She's always beautiful, but like, I was not expecting to see her topless in this movie.
Anthony Rapp as Jacob. He's got this God is Awesome t-shirt.
That is funny. That actually comes back at the very end of the movie, kind of.
I watch this every other year. I always forget his downfall. I could
So
cry
funny.
with how funny it is. So we get this lecture. This is Josh's lecture. The professor asks for Jacob's input. He's the TA, and he plays it really well. He's this little smarmy.
We ask ourselves for the teacher, because at one point the teacher, like, when he comes out of class, he helps him put his jacket on and that, and picks a bit of lint off his shoulder and stuff.
They leave the lecture. Jacob tells Josh to back off Amy Smart, and he plays it really creepy. It's pretty cool.
He says something like she's spoken for, as if like she's his property. It's really weird, man. He comes across like a total creeper.
She's gonna come back to me, or something like that. He keeps saying. I feel like
It says she'll come back. They all do. What does that mean? I don't know.
Professor warns Josh that he needs a B to pass. Jacob reminds him it's a B plus.
Actually, it's a B plus. I checked the numbers. You want to punch this guy, man? It's a really good build to a villain.
Good casting for Josh. He's
Yep.
always cool. Breckenmeyer plays that amazingly.
Okay, he does. I really.
Are we talking about it? You've got that look in your eye.
Do you know what I'm going to say?
You're going to talk about the Breck?
Yes, I need to. And I like Breaking Bad. This isn't anything to do with his performance, and it's not. None of this is his fault. What I'm about to say. He is not in college. I'm sorry. He's about 40 in this movie.
Man, that was also kind of Breckenmeyer's thing, though.
I know, but I'm just like, he's like, oh, I need to study for this test, and I'm like, you're the teacher.
Mind blown, man.
State of you.
Mind blown.
Uh-huh.
Rat Race was a year later, and they are both playing people that are definitely about 10 years older than the characters in
100%,
this.
because in Rat Race, he's like a young guy at a bachelor party.
Clearly a successful young guy, but
Mm-hmm.
in a suit, which always equates to your 30s.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's in his 30s.
I think Amy Smart's wearing a polo neck, so she's at least 33.
Yeah, that's just the rule.
Josh needs a B+. If he fails, he's going to lose his financial aid and he's out of college.
And then we are introduced to Stifler.
Stifler! He's so friggin' horny.
He's right in here, Stifler energy right away.
He's having a party. We're having a near
Forces for
Stifler
that party. That's the first thing he says. He's like, you should come to have a party tonight. And I'm wanting a bit being like, where's Jim and the gang?
Where's the pie?
I want a slice of pie. He says a comment that I really appreciate here, where he's talking about Beth. And he says, man, I would give it anything to have one night of consensual sex with her. And I'm like, he says consensual, good on you, Stifler.
He says it here.
Then he immediately outdoes it.
Aye.
He says that one comment saying, I want consensual sex with that girl. And I'm like, oh, good for him. And then immediately goes, man, taking drugs and drinking alcohol and taking advantage of young women, that's what college is all about. And I'm like, oh.
Kind of a well-balanced character. There's stuff in it I appreciate that we'll get to.
He is good in this movie. And he's a bit more mature than Stifler.
Yeah.
We find out not at this moment. He's introduced as Stifler.
A little more open-minded, I'd like to say.
Totally.
Hopefully.
I mean, very open-minded later.
Yeah. This is a cast you wouldn't have put together, yet they totally work. This does seem like a good group of friends. He is encouraging cheating, but he's trying to say you need to grow a bit.
In fairness, he is encouraging cheating, but he does later on in the movie just say dump her.
He also realises that this Beth is good for him.
Yeah, that's what he started saying. He's like, you're in this long distance relationship, you're not happy. You like this Beth, we can all tell you like her, she likes you. Just like go with her and dump you, which is good advice, really.
Yeah. See, when he goes down to...
He goes down at level with his dick and he goes, "Hey there, little buddy." And he does a wee voice. It's amazing.
Sean William Scott is brilliant.
Yes, he's really, really good. Brings the great energy to this movie.
Party and stuff walls!
This is the same party for American Pie.
It's even got the same intro shot.
Yep, it's the tracking shot through the door as you enter as Josh. Through he's greeting people. Josh apparently is very popular too because everybody's like giving him high fives. Somebody hands him a Dixie cup full of beer. Like, he's walking about all happy. Everybody's like saying, "Oh, Josh."
This band, man.
There's a band at his party.
They wish they were Smash Mouth, man.
I know. This band's fucking garbage.
It's like
and
ska,
also,
kind of like, I've got my
doop.
Get my...
This is like, do you know this is the sort of band that South Park would make fun of?
Totally.
A doopy. It's that sort of thing. I'm off for Stifler's party, I'm off for having the band and the whole American Pie scene, but then they start auctioning off girls. But this scene is intercut with a really funny scene with Barry.
Man.
So Tom Green's back, he's not been here in a while. He's having a threesome, I suppose. So it's like a hard cut to him sitting in his bedroom with these two hot chicks.
He's in the middle.
And he's sitting in the middle, and they're just all sitting on top of the bed at this point. He's just like, "Okay, today we're going to try some stuff." And it's that really low energy, creepy voice that he's doing.
The auction's weird. I do think Sean William Scott lights up a room.
He's great. He's good in the scene. It's just the whole concept of selling off girls today is giving me the heebies.
Beth asks Josh to bid on her to outbid.
Like, his creepy Jacob's there. She sees him in the audience and she says to Josh, "Look, you need to win this auction because this creep wants to steal me."
They have a bidding war. Stifler ends up ignoring the TA.
Stifler helps his bro out here. I appreciate this.
He knows that he's a creep as well.
Yeah,
and he's like,
not
nah.
happy.
Like,
yeah, because I think it's like $25, and then Jacob's like, "Oh, $30.
He just ignores
Stifler's just like, "Do you hear anybody? Do you hear 26? He's like, 30. He's like, "Okay, 26, scored once, scored twice," and he sells it to Josh, and then he kicks Jacob
he
at his party.
immediately kicks him at the party.
Which is kind of like when they kicks out the band geeks at the start of the American Pie.
Tom Green threesome rubbing. We're touching. It's a lot of fun. We're having a good time. The three of them kind of laugh as well. It's really
Again, I
funny.
think this is improv. I think they're just like, Tom Green's just saying whatever he wants at this point, trying to make them laugh.
Josh and Beth are back at his room. He puts on some music to set the mood for the humping.
Josh just straight up cheats on his girlfriend. Just straight up cheats on her.
They smooch and she plays with the camera and it sets all this madness up, man.
So before this, she finds a card on his table and she says, "Who's Tiffany?" And he just totally scumbag goes, "Oh, just some girl I used to know, don't worry about it." I'm like, that's your girlfriend? Well, what a cunt. He's just a pure prick. This is our hero, our protagonist in the movie, and he just flat out cheats on his girlfriend within the first 10 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, you've lost all your sympathy now. Like, he phoned her and she never answered, so he just assumes that she's dumped him and just goes and cheats on her. What a prick.
I mean, we've not got a
movie. Hate this guy.
We've not got a movie with it, man.
I know. But like, even have I seen, like, even do the Friends thing where like they're on a break, they have some communication. Like, he's on the phone to her and it's cutting out and she says something and he only hears her have the conversation. It sounds like she's saying, "I'm dumping you," or something like that.
I mean, they're young though. It's alright.
He's cheats.
People make
And again,
mistakes.
he's not young. He's about 35 years old.
Oh, come on.
Fucking Brecken should know better.
Jesus, Ryan.
He's breaking my heart.
You in that white suit you're wearing. Breaking my heart.
Thank you.
My hecky heart.
I thought you were going to sandbag my joke again.
Again? Oh, you hot grudges, man.
Bloody.
Beth interviews Josh. Like, takes off her underwear and stuff. Gets on top of Josh, and I've just wrote they probably have a really good time.
I'm sure they do.
I'm sure they have a really
the best
good time.
I'll tell you what, Kieran, I was having a good time.
Amy Smart is so hot in this, man.
When she takes off her trousers, I'm like, yeah, she's amazingly hot. She's interviewing him, she's asking all these questions, and Breckenmeyer it's really funny, his reactions. He's trying to answer the questions and he can barely talk. And then she gets enough to talk to me, as you say, and takes her, that vest she's wearing or something. She takes that off and he's just like, And I'm in my house like that.
Do you think 4 years later he'd be fucking about with Garfield?
Oh, that's right, aye. I think his life peaked here.
Oh, I don't know. A lot of people like that Franklin and Bash.
Did they, aye?
I think so.
Did they?
Tiny salmon. Chimpanzee.
Josh and Beth have sex and they film it. Stupid idea, right? And then it cuts to the next morning. Barry's on the guitar singing a song, this animal song. The chimpanzee says, he does all the noises.
But the salmon can only say. And his eyes roll and he's like.
He's going full Tom Green at this
takes
point.
it serious.
It's so funny. Josh comes into the room buzzing. He's just showered.
Just got laid.
Aye, he's got that just got laid energy. He's dancing about. Everybody's looking at him like, what are you so happy about? And he immediately just says, I cheated on my girlfriend. No biggie.
He said he got with Beth. And they're like, no fucking way. You're fucking full of shit, dude.
I don't like this scene either. This is dodgy. Where he's like, I can prove it.
Emotions to the camera.
And then he tries to fight it a wee bit, being like, oh no, don't watch it, guys. But he's not fighting all that hard. He wants them to see it.
But EL is way too excited about this thing.
He goes, Barry, hit the lights. It's boner time. They put the tape in, they all watch it.
Did you notice when Sean William Scott said, please Josh, we need this? And he's got pure sadness in his eyes and he's like, please Josh, we need this.
One of my favourite lines in the movie comes up here. I laugh so hard that's had to pause. So they put the tape in and they start watching it, but it's the wrong tape. It's a tape of him making the video to his girlfriend. And then Josh immediately realises that he sent the wrong tape. He's posted the sex tape to his girlfriend. And he's having a freak out. He's looking all over the room, his desk and stuff. He's freaking out. And then Barry comes in behind him and just goes, did you make a copy? If you made a copy, you can watch the copy. He yanks his feet out.
That is amazing.
That's so funny. So basically this sets up the movie. We set up he's accidentally sent a tape of him cheating on his girlfriend to his girlfriend. Just at that moment she calls, said that her granddad died and she was out of town at his funeral, so she's not at her college.
He's genuinely gutted during this scene. He is genuinely gutted.
Again, I've got no sympathy for him because he just cheated on her. So
Jesus, man.
What? It's just cheated on her and he's like, oh no.
He's like 21 or something.
He's about 30s too.
Oh, no.
This isn't some daffy boy. It's he is a 17-year-old.
If it was Tom Green, who is probably 28 in this, I'm getting it. But oh, come on.
No, breaking my iron, no. You should know better.
Stifler's quietly howling while she's talking about this. I'm calling him 3 different things.
She's not at college because she's at a family's house because of the funeral and the grandpa dying, so they've now got time to try and intercept the tape before it gets to her. So that basically sets up the movie. We now have this set up in the movie. That's why we're going on this road trip. They need to drive to her college to get her mail to make sure that she doesn't see the tape.
And we've got a ticking clock now.
Yeah, we've got a ticking clock and we know where we are. We've got our plot points and we're setting off on our road trip.
Sean William Scott says where? Austin? That's like 10,000 miles from here. And Josh replies, it's 1,800 miles. Josh outlines a drive and Sean William Scott tells us this is a road trip! A movie about a road trip! Yep. I was wondering where the motor was.
Well, we're going to find out where the motor was because they need somebody with a motor, so as we're introduced to Kyle.
This is a shame, man.
The chap on nerd! He's a pure nerd.
Nerd!
The most stereotypical wee geek you've ever seen. The chap on his door, he's like, just a minute. He yells like that. I bet he's jacking off. And he clearly is because he answers the door and he checks his bone on all that. Like,
and Sean William Scott is like just smiling like,
we know what you're doing. They say they need his car.
Pure manipulator, man.
Again, this is fucking Ferris Bueller here. Ferris Bueller and Cameron with this
I
situation.
Wrote that. He's getting Cameron fried to fuck, man.
But at least he's not got the deep-rooted emotional issues that Cameron's got.
Yet. No, he overcomes them.
Yeah, he does.
We'll get to it. He has to run past
This
them.
is kind of Ferris Bueller. He's got the abusive dad.
Yep.
He's got the car that he's not shouldn't be driving. Aye, this is very Ferris Bueller here.
They talk Kyle into coming on the road trip.
Yeah, and then we are off. So we've got our 4 guys. So we've got Josh, EL, Stifler, Ruben, who we've not spoken about much. He's not really been in the movie much.
This is him coming up. I've got a wee bit about him.
And Kyle, who's only there because they're using his car, basically. He's not really their pal yet.
And he's credit card.
And he's got a credit card, which they max out as well. It's a wee shame for this wee guy.
Joey's nephew tells Barry that he's leaving and he has no interest. Says, can he feed the snake? And he says, I'm reliable, okay? Have a safe journey. Gonna feed the snake. Gonna watch the snake. And he climbs on the car.
He keeps on saying bye. I think this might be improv again. He goes, bye.
I'll feed the snake, okay?
And they're reversing and trying to leave, and he keeps on chasing after the car and saying bye, and then he climbs on top of the car.
Back to Green telling the story to the tour group. He says, so off they went. They had 1,800 miles to go and only 3 days to do it. It was a killer journey to say the least, and it was one that changed them all forever. So we're going to go over here next.
Just ends the story.
And the group are like, we need to know about the tape.
At this point, they're invested. They're all sitting around these bleachers and they're all
captivated,
open-mouthed, captivated by this story. And one of the mums is like, what happened with the tape?
The mum comes back. Stifler asks for the tape to be described, and I'm pretty sure he can imagine it.
Aye.
We go
I
back
can imagine it.
Oh, I bet you did. I bet you will.
You know they were in my nipple war?
Oh, nipple guy.
Oh, my Amy Smart war.
My Amy Smart TV. It's just a sticky telly.
Sticky telly.
Oh.
Is that a touch screen?
Is that a 3D telly, Rido? Depends how close you stand.
3 double D. Oh, he left me.
She took the reins.
Just left me in my sticky telly.
It's weird because there's no mount at the back here. It's just stuck on. So this is a cheating chat. He says that because of the area code, technically they're not cheating.
They have this really ridiculous conversation about the loopholes of cheating. He says something like, it's not cheating if you're cheating with 2 people because they cancel each other out. And then Kyle peps up and says it's not cheating if you put peanut butter on your testicles and have your dog lick it off.
I'm glad you said that, wasn't Connie?
Because it's your dog.
And they appropriately react like, what have you been up to?
Aye, they treat him they're like, what? Soundtrack's pretty good here. It's, what is it, the Eels?
Eels, yeah.
A pure road trip song.
Mr. E's Beautiful Blues?
Yes. We're back with Barry, who's prepping the mousies for the next day.
Oh man.
He's talking to the box and being like, which one of you is going to be selected for the feast?
He picks one of them up by the tail and he does a sacrificial hymn.
I goes,
and he lifts
so
it
where
up
Beth walks into the room and he's just looking at this thing and singing to it, and she's like, excuse me.
He asks if she's here for the feeding.
She's like, what?
Green says that Josh is away to see his girlfriend in Austin, Massachusetts.
And he says, and she goes, do you mean Boston? He goes, yeah, whatever, that's what I said.
Beth cries in the girls' locker room.
This is hilarious. I love this scene. So it cuts to Beth in the women's locker room crying because Josh lied to her. Everybody all around her is just naked. All these naked chicks. There's titties everywhere. And then one of the women at the tour group interrupts Tom Green. She's like, that doesn't happen in women's locker rooms.
Girls don't just stand around naked, and Green says, this is my story.
Then he turns to this wee guy, 17-year-old who's got the biggest smile on his face.
He has long hair and braces and freckles.
And he's got a big smile on his face. He's like, so this chick's naked, right? Totally naked.
He says, and then another girl walks up, totally hot, okay? Naked, really naked. And this wee guy is so excited.
He's like me.
And we see Bush.
No, just boobs in my cut of the movie.
Oh.
Interesting. Maybe we did see different cuts. Mine was the Paramount Plus version. Maybe they censored it.
Probably.
Because it's Paramount, aye.
We go to a Target store and they use Kyle's credit card.
In fairness, to buy groceries, because that is a road trip, you're going to need food and supplies, although
they should have money, man.
Buys these sunglasses off the car. And he keeps them on throughout the movie and they've got the tag on the side of them. He doesn't take it off.
They take this shortcut.
Shortcuts amazing. So they take a shortcut.
It's going to save them 5 hours.
Yeah, and Kyle was like, why don't we just go back to interstate? And Ruben says, well, it's a shortcut. It's like, if it was meant to be easy, it would just be called the way, which is quite smart.
It's going to save 5 hours, and they come to this bridge, and they need to stop.
This decrepit old bridge, which is like broken in half. It's like a pure Dukes of Hazzard bridge, the one that those Duke boys would need to jump over.
This whole area is quite desolate, and
Sean William Scott here looks about. He looks to his left, looks to his right, and goes, "Yeah, I got about 20 minutes before our first ass raping."
Stifler wants to jump it immediately, man. He
that's
has no
all
qualms. He's like, he doesn't want to hear the math. He just wants to get back in and go for it.
He's dying to jump this bridge again. Maybe he knows he's going to be in Dukes of Hazzard later because he's getting his fucking jumping bridge. Oh, he's in that, isn't he?
And Johnny and fucking Jessica, man.
That's mental.
Joey's nephew does the math on this bad boy.
This is where the first sign that he's a pure genius. Ruben, and he's like, oh, if we go at this velocity, at this speed, then we need to make this angle. He does all this physics and basically says we can make the jump.
But he doesn't, because he doesn't take into account the weight of the bridge, like what the bridge can withstand.
Because we find that the structural integrity of the bridge. So Sean Scott says, I can spit over this, and he goes and hawks this big greener.
See whilst he's doing it, he turns around and looks at them, and he's like,
and he spits across it, and his spit lands on the bridge, and it caves in.
The bridge caves in. See, as he spits it, he does this wee turn as he does it as well,
to
just
force
to
it.
get more force it, and it lands, and it all collapses, and they all just go, oh well, we need to go faster.
Aye, I think they'd agreed 60 miles an hour, and then when the bridge falls, he goes, maybe try 75.
At one point, Stifler says Bob Hope could make it in a golf cart. Kyle puts on a helmet.
Where does he get this helmet from, by the way? They do this big jump.
It's really cool.
It's a cool scene. A good stunt work as well. So they do the jump, they make the jump.
Nearly clear it safely. I think the car was always going to go.
Yeah.
The suspension and such, but they clear it well.
Yeah. But they make it, and they're all cheering, they're all happy, but then the suspension caves in, and all the wheels fall. They're all just sitting there gutted. They go to the car and survey the damage.
Kyle breaks down, Josh freaks out, and they walk away, and the car explodes.
And they'll do the slow motion turnaround to look at it. It's a really funny scene.
Beth is taking the bus, and she talks to the great Cleo King about guys. Cleo King tells her not to trust men. Last time she did, the guy took off with her sister and her van before they became minivans, so it was a belter of a van. She is amazing. Do you remember her on Pineapple Express?
Oh yeah, that's all. Yep, that's right.
Picks them up for selling weed to the kids, and she goes, "Oh, yous, they Wayne said eyes as red as the devil's dick." Oh, she's amazing. F asks, so there's no hope?
There is hope, but it's battery powered.
Excellent.
But, she takes the vibrator off and looks at it, and she goes, "You can keep that one."
Back to the road trippers, and Joey's nephew is shook because he nearly died. I think they just needed to give this character something because he kind of sucks and makes me sleepy when he talks or does stuff.
Yeah, he is quite a boring character. That's kind of his gimmick, though. This whole thing kind of stays throughout the rest of the movie. Him being really shook by this incident. He almost died.
He's questioning his mortality.
Totally questioning his mortality.
Place in the world.
So he goes to they go to this motel.
Oof.
It's next morning.
Oof.
Big Ruben needs some drugs. As we find out, he's a weed smoker.
If you want drugs, you know who to go to.
You go to Andy Dick.
Phil Hartman did. Phil Hartman's missus did.
Is that how he died?
John Lovitz apparently tried to physically go for him and all that because apparently Andy Dick signed his death letter by giving Phil Hartman's missus the drugs. Andy Dick is the concierge. He's watching Bob Ross, and his Bob Ross drawn is so funny.
It's so funny.
It's just squiggles.
It's hard to... Andy Dick is a menace, to say the least, in real life. But he is really funny.
Andy Dick is unfortunately hilarious.
Even the way he looks, he's got these big glasses and this long, straggly black hair. Ruben tries to buy some weed from him.
He says, "I can offer you an 11-year-old prostitute Or someone oft for him, perhaps. Would you like an assassin? Or perhaps a towel?
Yeah, and then he walks away and he says, cheats. Cheat, she calls him.
Cheech.
Yeah, your credit card's been maxed out. And that's when they realise that they've used poor Kyle's credit card to the max.
And we get Papa Kyle! Yes! Fred Ward, man, one of my absolute favourites.
Fred Ward is great in this movie.
Fred Ward rules, man. See, it puts things in perspective a bit.
Yep.
He had took on Tremors only 10 years before this.
Yeah.
That kind of seems like it's decades apart.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Handsome dude, man.
Handsome guy.
Old cowboy type.
Yeah, he's got that. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but he's got that sort of legitimacy about him where, like, you believe, like, this character, even though it's a comedy movie, he plays a badass in it.
Yeah.
And he's pretty intimidating, man. He's a pretty scary dude.
Great way to put it, man. I think that's totally right. I don't think he's ever phoned it in.
No, and he goes for it in this movie. I'll give him that. He's really, really good in this. He's a total dick to this waiter. He's at a restaurant. He's at a restaurant with his wife. His poor wife, I don't think, says a word in this movie. She just looks scared the entire way through it. The guy says that his credit card's been maxed out. He's like, that's impossible. Run it through your rock machine. He says, we've done it 3 times. He says, I've been coming here for 20 years. He's like, sorry, it's only been open for 8 years.
That's that John Ross Bowie, man. A good comedic actor. He was on that there Big Bang Theory, and and Ward's got that haircut you could set a cloak by, man, and he's no happy.
That military cut.
It's sort of a type like, I guess, your Arlie Hermes that just, it's like a Mike Judge animation in real life.
Yes, that's a very, very good way to describe it. He's like,
they're freaking out about the car, and Joey's cousin talks to Stifler. They're sort of saying, what are we going to do, and Stifler says, just you take them for breakfast and he'll go take care of this.
I found this scene funny. I remember this is one of the scenes that stand out for me when I watched this as a kid, finding it really funny then.
First we get this big sweaty cop that runs into this diner and he tells Kyle's parents that they've found Kyle's car blown to bits and he's missing from the uni. And Ward goes, Mother of God.
It's really good.
And then we get
EL walks into this bus depot, I suppose it is.
Ryan.
What?
You're on a diving board, my man, I'm telling you the news. And there's no life jacket, baby!
I'll be careful. He walks into this bus depot. The woman behind the counter, the secretary or whatever her job is.
It's a school for the blind.
Is that a school for the blind? Is that
bus depot?
I don't know. There's bus. All I know that he goes into this place and he comes out with a bus.
I suppose it could be a bus depot.
A bus depot for the blind, if you will. Anyway, he walks into this bus depot school for the blind. I didn't see what it was, so I didn't see the side of the building. So he walks in. The receptionist chick,
Mary Lynn,
who's a very funny comedic actress.
Amazing.
She's in a bunch of things.
Great dramatic actress.
Yeah, she's in 24.
24.
She's the worst in 24. She's a pest in that fucking show.
Chloe's cool, man. She hacks the net.
Oh, Chloe's a pest.
Jack's always like, Chloe, tell me what's going on.
Which wire do I cut, Chloe?
Jack, I'm trying to do it really quickly.
He basically cons her. He says a bunch of stuff saying like, oh, I think this is where I get mixed up because he says, oh, so, like Frank or something from the depot sent me down to look at...
Retrieve a bus, to get a bus checked for maintenance. Stifler takes advantage of this.
Yeah, he basically just says, oh, I'm here from the thing to look at one of the bus. There's a rotator cuff or something in a bus and the engine that's not working. He's
acting like a smug prick the whole time and she can ironically see right through it.
Yeah.
She knows that at one point he takes this bit of strawberry licorice that's out in the counter and he gives it to the service dog.
And she's like, don't feed the dog, he's a service dog, you're not supposed to give them
and treats. He's freaked out. He thinks, what the fuck? Yeah. And he starts, it's really rude. He starts waving
his hands in front of her face. Never do that to anybody, blind or not, that's just pure rude.
And she just lifts this middle finger perfectly, man.
It's really funny. But it must have worked anyway, because the next scene we see Stifler's got himself a bus, so he's either fooled her or he's just stole the bus. Oh. This diner scene, I remember that. This is the one scene in this movie that I can remember vividly.
Horatio Sands is the chef.
Big, greasy guy.
Who's making a massive comeback right now, has been great in Mandalorian and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy. He looks great right now as well.
All the poor guy does, what's his name? Jared, no, what's it?
The wee wiener,
Kyle. All Kyle does is say, can I please not have powdered sugar on my French toast? And he says it really nicely. He's not a dick about it. He's not like, I didn't ask for fucking sugar. He's not rude at all. He's like, excuse me, I can't have sugar this early in the morning. Is it okay if I have this without sugar? Man. And he takes the plate and goes, absolutely, sir. I'm so sorry. I'll go and take that sugar right off.
He is so funny in this tiny scene.
It's really. I say it's funny, but I can't watch it. It gives me the bulk.
He takes this breakfast and he takes a slice of French toast
and licks all the sugar off it, and then puts his tongue through it. Like, there's actually a hole in the toast, and he like puts his tongue through it. He wipes it on his armpits, and then like he opens his trousers and throws it up in the air.
No, so he opens his sweatpants. This is a chef that wears sweatpants. That should have been a sign, get out of there.
He's wearing sweatpants and a white wife beater vest.
He throws this French toast up and opens the elastic bit of these grey sweatpants and catches it. Oh!
And then if that's not bad enough, he does it at the back, so he throws it over his shoulder and catches it with the elastic in the back end, so it's going down his arse crack.
That's not enough though, man.
And then he starts walking about with it.
He takes this French toast a sweaty walk, man.
He walks back out to their table, refills their coffee.
He's lovely
and he's like, there you go, I'll refill your coffee, sir. He's like, your French toast will be ready in just a moment.
And he's got this big smile.
And as he's walking, he starts lunging.
He lunges back to the kitchen and whips out this sweaty French toast.
Oh, it's just full of sweat and fungus and pubes.
Oh, mate, that last one was... Take a drink of juice.
You can taste it. So he puts the French toast back in the plate and brings it back out. So there you go. So I'm so sorry about that. And
we DJ calls. Kyle goes. He takes a bite and goes, it's good.
It's good.
Oh, and he mentions how nice the chef is.
He's such a nice guy.
Stifler shows up with this bus and Josh says, I don't even want to know how you got this. And
I stole it from a blind chick.
He says it so proudly.
He's so happy with himself.
This bus montage of them driving and having fun, it's appreciated.
This is the road trip part of Road Trip, but they're all just like on a bus driving about. Like, this is fun. And there's actually a really nice scene here. This is where EL shows some humanity. And it's like quite decent because Kyle says like, oh, is it okay if we stop? I need the bathroom. And he's like, oh, we're not stopping for another couple of hours, just gonna have to hold it. And he's like, all right, okay. And then he's like, Kyle, I'm fucking with you. Like,
stand up for yourself, man.
Obviously, we're going to stop for the bathroom.
This is where I've wrote he's getting Cameron fried off his dad, and he is getting a hard time off his dad. And Sean William Scott, because he's a good actor, drops it immediately, gives him some advice, and eases up on him a bit from this point.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's a really good scene. It's the most
human.
Yeah, it's the most human and kind of. It's not a serious scene, but it's definitely nice to see that it's not just all fucking with this poor kid.
I think it could have had a little more of it.
Yeah, it's a shit. Maybe there was more in the script, and maybe that's a different cut of it. But
harder to sell, probably.
Yeah, aye.
Saturday morning feeding time.
It's feeding time. Tom Green is so excited. We've not seen Tom Green in a while. This is the longest stretch he's not been in the movie, but it's a Saturday morning. He is buzzing. It's feeding time. He takes the mouse out. He chooses it. He puts it in the cage, and the snake just isn't interested.
And I'm happy to see the mouse makes it out alive.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Stifler is sick of just driving about. He tells Josh that sleeping with Beth is a sign and one of the best things that he's ever done.
Yeah, he says, I hope Tiffany does find out, because it's the best thing that could ever happen for you. Which is what we said earlier, basically saying like...
Live a little.
This Beth chick's totally cool, you should be with her. This Tiffany thing isn't working. Like, if she does see the tape, it's probably going to work out better for you, because she'll dump you and then you can move on with your life, basically.
This is happening here and now.
Yeah. Josh phones the professor, and it's Jacob who answers, and Jacob then does an impression of the professor. Goes, oh, hello, Josh.
He does a deep voice. He says I'm
not buying this, though. I'm not buying that Josh doesn't he? Like,
he's a bit in a day, though, isn't he?
Aye. I'd be like, is this Jacob? I know it's you, you wee dick.
I like that
He just buys it hook, line and sinker.
I think Anthony Rapp's quite good here. He's like, yes, and he just writes fuck off on a bit of paper.
That's funny.
So he thinks he's got this extension, but it's not worth its weight at all.
Yeah, he basically says, take 3 days, because he basically says, oh, I was in a car accident, I'm not going to be able to make it back in time for the midterm or whatever, and Jacob, pretending to be the professor, just says, yes, take 3 days, so he's basically fucking with him, trying to get him kicked out of college.
The dogs are out sniffing for Kyle. This is a manhunt.
That's it, right. So, Kyle's family, for some reason, are allowed on this crime scene, right, even though it's been cordoned off. This photographer, who is it?
Matt Walsh, baby.
Matt Walsh, the hilarious Matt Walsh for
the
Veep.
Todd Phillips regular, even in Veep, did you say?
Veep, yep.
Is he great in Veep?
Have you not seen Veep?
No.
He is amazing.
Is that
Veep.
right?
He's so funny.
Gets a really prominent role in the 2014 movie Into the Storm, where he's a storm chaser. He's like the lead in it.
Oh, really?
I thought it was a really cool movie. It's a handheld storm movie.
Yeah, I remember it came out. I remember the trailer for it and being like, I don't know.
I think he's charming enough.
It came out around about the same time as that Troll movie came out.
Yeah.
Troll!
Mind that. That wee guy. That classic line.
So,
he is playing the crime scene photographer. And he says if he had to guess, he would say someone was raped and murdered here last night. What gives you that idea? Just a feeling.
That's it's the way he shrugs to this guy's parents.
They're kind of like pissed off that he's acted like this, and he's like, what?
He shrugs at them.
Another forensic says cheerfully that they haven't found a drop of semen yet.
At least we're not finding a drop of semen. To that poor boy's parents, that worried sick.
Beth arrives in Boston, looks for Tiffany Henderson, Jessica Caulfield from Legally Blonde, and Valentine.
Yep, she's good here.
Amazing here. This is one of my favourite scenes in this movie.
It is. This scene's funny. It's just a bit too convenient that there is somebody with this exact first and second name that goes to Boston.
I like the idea of Beth being a Terminator and going for these Tiffany's.
Right, so she goes to Tiffany, tells her, by the way, your boyfriend's been cheating on you, and the fake Tiffany's holding this pen, and she snaps it, and she's telling her.
And she goes to this car, the fake Tiffany, and just starts
with a baseball bat and starts going for it,
destroying it, man. She is smashing that thing.
And then her boyfriend shows up, who's obviously not Josh, because she's talking to the wrong Tiffany, and she starts wailing on him with his baseball bat.
In front of everybody as well.
The whole school's gathered round as she's destroying his car and destroying him, and she's like, who's that? And somebody in the crowd's like, oh, that's her boyfriend.
She Homer Simpson's out of there.
She just backs out. It's so funny. She doesn't try and intervene. She just runs away. She's really funny in this, and it's a funny scene. She's basically just destroyed these two people's lives and then just fucks off. She gets on the bus to go home. She's sleeping on the bus. Todd Phillips, the director, makes a cameo here. Beth is sleeping on the bus and he's sitting behind her on the seat. I hate this, even describing it. He basically gets down. She's lying, like, sleeping with her legs across a couple of chairs and her feet are poking it. And he goes down and basically starts trying to lick her naked feet. That's the best way. Does he lick them or sniff them? I can't remember. He gets his face right in about her feet. She wakes up anyway. She looks at him. She's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Take it easy, man. Chill it."
He's like, "Can I just say you have beautiful feet or something?" Like that?
He's like, "Can I give you a massage?" And she's like, "No, I don't want a fucking massage. Why is there no normal men? Why can't I just find one man who's normal?" And then it cuts to Barry trying to feed the snake.
Unleash the fury, Mitch!
He's trying to motivate Mitch, the snake, to eat this little mouse. It's no doing it, and as you said, he's shouting at Mitch, "Unleash the fury!" He wants to see blood. He says that at one point. Like, he wants a bloodbath.
The road trippers show up at a fraternity. Ruben, Joey's cousin, knows the fraternity apparently.
How? He never explains how he knows this.
He does. I didn't take a note. It's like one of those through a network things or something.
He says like, "Oh, I know this frat. I even know their handshake." or something.
To be fair, he does.
He does on the handshake. He nails it perfectly. But again, I don't know how he knows. It doesn't matter.
The big gag is it's an African American fraternity.
Yeah, the gag is that it's an all black fraternity, so he knows the handshake, so they let them in. As soon as they walk into the big dining hall, they look around and everybody here is black, apart from these 4 honkies that have just walked in.
They fuck with them whilst they eat. Stifler asks Ruben if he knew it was an all black fraternity, and Ruben says he doesn't think about that kind of stuff.
Stifler, in fairness, is like, we need to leave. They obviously know we're lying because, like, we're not black. We shouldn't be here. Like, they know that we lied to them. They're going to be pissed off.
I'm glad they don't. It turns into a kind of sweet scene.
Oh, that seems great,
yeah.
but this could have went very wrong. They handled it well because I'm like, oh no, is this going to be like weird race jokes here?
Well, fortunately, the ice is broken here by this KKK.
This is funny.
This is so funny.
They jump in. They're like, we checked this guy's car. This was in his truck, and it's a KKK hood.
And Kyle,
for some reason, this guy was like, "That's not ours. That's not ours." And he's just like, "Your boy here's a bigot."
And he just passes out.
Because he probably thinks at that moment he's going to get murdered.
They wake him up and he says he needs a wine cooler. Stifler gives him scotch and he says, have mine.
Josh basically says, no, they were just messing with us. It's a prank. They're cool. Kyle wakes up and everybody's cool. They're all having a party now. Kyle keeps on drinking, gets drunk, basically becomes the life of the party. He's up dancing on stage.
To Run DMC.
Run DMC.
It's a great scene, man. This is a cool scene. Initially, they're laughing at him and it turns out they're with him by the end of it.
Yeah, because he's just this skinny wee white guy. He gets up and starts dancing. Everybody's kind of like, oh no. But then he starts like pure busting moves.
Stifler starts talking him up to Rhonda.
Yeah, Rhonda's like, isn't
really
he so
cool.
cute? And he's like, oh man, he's the man. I don't like this stuff though with Rhonda.
Played by Mia Amber Davis, who is totally hot but needs to endure the next few scenes. Like, and it's a shame because she's the funniest part of the scenes.
Yeah, and this movie could totally worked without having to resort to going to like fat jokes. That's basically what they do. Because this next scene, and it's the scene that was also in Shallow Hal, is it?
I mean, every scene of Shallow Hal was this pish,
like,
man.
They're sitting on this little bench because she's bigger than them. The bench is all going down at one side, and it's like...
It didn't need it.
No, like that's not a funny joke. This lassie isn't even that big. Obviously she's bigger than him because he's skinny and like everybody's bigger than him.
It would have been more poignant if he just lost his virginity that night and it would have gave the movie a bit more of a heart, like the bus scene. Like,
yeah, but it's just like... It makes it more of a fat joke. Which is unnecessary. This poor lassie.
This might not be right to say, and I'll watch her rephrase it, but it doesn't help that she is hot. The actual humour to me is in her confidence, man. She knows, like, it cuts to...
This is really funny. They're lying on the bed.
And they have a good chemistry. She's talking them up, and again, she's hot.
She's hot, and she's confident, and he tells her that he's never done it before, and she's totally helping him through it. She's like, don't worry about it, take deep breaths.
She is exactly what Kyle needs.
Yeah. She's like, I suppose you didn't bring any condoms. He says, no.
So they go to the bedroom.
Yeah. This scene's really funny. He's like, oh, there might be something in that drawer. And he opens the door and she's like,
he says, where do you hang they on? She's like, oh, next to the Old Spice behind the belts. And he says something like, that's
good guess.
Very perceptive.
And then she does, like, I don't know, mine's cut here, but I remember, like, there being a sex scene.
Under the covers, I see her in Tapium.
I see it didn't have like, cuts here.
I have that.
So maybe you did see an unrated version.
She was definitely humping him on Tapium. The next day, Kyle adjusts his crotch, wears a cap backwards, and high fives his way out of the frat.
He walks out with this swag. Like, obviously, he's just been laid. He's got this confidence. He's got the backwards cap. He's walking out. He's high fiving everybody and stuff. It's kind of funny. They
take off. Kyle smokes in the bus and tells his story. He says, "We had a few drinks, danced a little, you know." He does, yeah.
He says, she gave me her underwear and he sniffs it. Oh. In front of them all, he just takes a big whiff of it, man.
Shows underwear, it's whatever. He says I boinked her.
I like the fact they make fun of it. They actually say, did you just say the word boinked?
Joey's nephew said they're strapped for cash, so they decide to go and spank it for cash.
But so there's like roadside sperm banks. Like, how do they know where the nearest sperm bank is? Does there just happen to be one on the way? They go to this sperm bank, this nurse gives them these questionnaires, and she's like, I need to ask you questions. First of all, I know it's a film, right? I get it. They would ask these questions confidentially, no at the reception with all your pals standing beside you. The first thing is any of you's taking drugs in the last 36 hours, and Joey's nephew's out because he smoked weed, so he goes and sits down. If any of you had sex and masturbated in the last 24 hours, and then Kyle was all confident, he's like, I had sex last night with a girl.
And he motions
He does that. So basically just leaves Josh and Stifler, the only two. So they're taken into this corridor, given wee cups and told to go into separate rooms.
with this nurse who
Josh,
is hot.
This nurse is totally hot. Josh takes his cup and goes into the room. Stifler, of course, tries his luck with the nurse. He's like,
I could do with some...
yeah, a little bit of help, and you seem like you know what you're doing. And she's like, would you require assistance? And he's like, oh yeah, it's a pure Stifler moment.
He talks to her like a college girl, I presume, but
Yeah.
this nurse is just seeing
she's kind of
right
rolling
through
his
it.
eyes, and she's like, right, okay, if you want my help, you're going to get my help.
She says he's going to milk his prostate. Again, other actors probably wouldn't do this. Sean William Scott,
Not only does he do it, he does it amazingly well.
he acts like fuck here, man.
Yeah, it's all in the face, because basically the camera's just on his face, so he has to do it all just with his expressions. And as we know from American Pie, when he drinks the dum in that scene, and it's just, and like the realisation hits him, and it's all just his eyes and his eyebrows and his cheeks doing all the acting here.
He was clearly told to have an orgasm and he does it, and he's like, and he goes, stop, and she stops, and he goes,
keep going!
okay, keep doing it. And
And it shows you Josh in the next room looking a bit like, what the fuck?
she finishes him up, and he goes, that was
awesome.
So we go back to this tour, and our mum asks if that's even possible, and he rubs her leg and says, oh, it's possible.
It's so funny, he's trying to get about this mum.
We go back to Green in the past, and he's struggling to get the snake to eat the mouse. He pretends to eat it, and he puts it in his mouth, and that thing would be biting fuck out his mouth, man.
I've wrote my notes here, why does Tom Green do this? It's weird, because this is a real mouse he puts in his mouth. This isn't a prop. It's because you can see it pure like moving about, and he puts the whole thing in his mouth. It's disgusting. I hate it.
Beth comes in.
As he's got the mouse in his mouth.
She screams, because of you, some guy's life is ruined in Boston. And he says, who cares?
That is funny. At this moment, Jacob comes into the room and just reveals everything, weirdly. It's like, this is like a James Bond movie where the bad guy just reveals his entire plan. He walks in and he's like, oh well, you don't need to worry about your boyfriend anymore because I've told him that he had 3 extra days, but he doesn't have 3 extra days. He just explains everything in far too much detail to her.
Snake bites Green. He pure whips this thing around the room, and it latches onto Jacob's throat.
I thought he dies at this scene. I thought he died here because he throws the snake across the room and it grabs him by the neck and he's down for the count.
And it's a big snake.
Aye, the snake slithers away and so does the mouse. Jason's lying there holding his throat, bleeding out.
It's brutal, but I wanna rock!
Yeah, they're all broing out here. I Wanna Rock by Twisted Sister is blasting. They're all like taking
I love
turns
this
of,
scene,
like,
man.
dancing. Aye, this is...
I love that. I love when Stifler goes, I want to rock!
Yeah.
He starts humming. You see me, DJ. He's looking at everything Sean William Scott's doing in this scene.
Yeah, and trying to emulate him because he kind of looks up to him like a big brother kind of thing. Barry says that he lets them crash at his grandparents' house.
Best scene in the movie.
Yes. They've not spoken to him since he was a kid, ever since he set their dog on fire. Is that right? When he was 5 years old, he set their dog on fire or something. So he's not spoken to his grandparents since.
Ruben walks them through what language to use with the grandparents as if they're no human beings. He's saying, please, thank you.
That
yes,
was delicious.
Sir. No, sir, that was delicious.
And that's all you say to these people.
That's all you say. This is when they find out Barry's second name is
Manilow.
We get the great Ellen Dow, Edmund Lindeck as the grandparents. Edmund Lindeck steals this movie.
He's a comic genius, man. He's also the old guy in Big Daddy.
In this scene, he's watching Groove Armada shaking.
Yeah.
And
he stands up and he's got this big boner. And he turns and he knocks on a statue with it.
And Ellen Dow says to him, "Honey, your boner." And he says, "Oh, hell, woman, what do you want me to do with it? Cut it off?"
It's really funny. He walks out of the room and he knocks stuff over with it.
Righto. She
is
says,
it the Virgin Mary?
I have no idea.
It's a statue.
Man.
I think it's a statue of the Virgin Mary because she tries to put the heat back on it later.
She says, "Give the boys a tour," and he comes out with this huge boner and he takes one of them by the horn and they're all scared to touch him. Fred Ward gets to the motel and pure rings Andy Dick's bell.
He grabs his arm, twists it, puts his face on the counter. Andy Dick gives him their bill. They made 2 calls to the university in Austin, Texas, so that's where they assume that they're going. So now Kyle's dad has the location.
Ruben smokes weed outside the grandparents' house, and the grandpa shows up with the dog, says he can't sleep. Viagra's keeping him up with his heart racing.
Ruben's still having this mortality crisis. He's talking about it. He's got severe anxiety as well. He talks about how he's had to go to therapy since when he was a kid and stuff. This is like the most character development we've got of anybody so far. Like, we get his backstory here.
He says weed's the only kind of thing that balances him out.
Yeah. And then Grandpa says, "You going to pass that doobie or not?" He blows smoke in the dog's face. But wait, this dog starts talking to him.
This is Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, is that Jimmy Kimmel doing that? Right, okay.
He says, "I got the munchies real bad."
The old man's like, face, he's terrified.
Oh no!
He's tripping bottles.
So Tiffany wakes up in this dream sequence and she's sad about her gran, and our roommates get round her and give her mail from her friends, and she gets the hump tape.
Yeah, from Josh. She goes to put the tape in and then Josh wakes up again. It's yet another nightmare.
They blast out of the grandma's.
The dog again.
He says, "Hey Jack, have that bitch make me some blueberry pancakes right now." And old Jack is terrified.
He just nods. He nods at the dog.
And he runs towards the house. That dog's going to be talking to him forever.
That's a permo. So they finally get to their destination. They're at the uni, or is it the college, or the University of Austin, Texas.
They slow motion walk their butts off to Tiffany.
Cool guy walk. They get there, they get to the reception. This guy behind the counter is a total wang.
I remembered this scene before they walked in, and how crazy this is.
The movie kind of falls apart here.
Administrator?
It's just a mail boy.
They walk into the mailroom and it's like the administration office, and they need to find the mail, get the tape before Tiffany gets it, and this mailroom guy punches Kyle, jumps over the counter, whips his shirt off, calls Breckin Myers Mary, flips him and calls him his bitch. It turns out he's a wrestler.
He calls him Mary and Nancy.
Like, the fuck? He's funny in it. It's just so cartoonish.
This movie goes over the top at this point. Yeah, it's totally cartoonish. So this happens. He tackles Breckenmeyer down to the ground, and then Scott pulls him by the ankles, and Ruben jumps on top of them. So the 3 guys have got him pinned in, while Josh jumps over the counter, finds the tape, jumps back over the counter, and then security show up.
Todd Barry.
Yep, with bare mace. That's going mental. So there's a wrestler, they're all wrestling on the ground. Security jumps in with this bare mace.
Fred Ward shows up.
So now Kyle's dad, and he pulls out a piece. He just pulls out a revolver.
He has a pistol this whole time. Ryan, in every wide shot, he's just got this big silver pistol.
It's so funny.
And he's ready to go at any point.
You know, this guy's a pure Republican. He's like one of these gun-touting fucking maniacs.
He screams at Kyle. Tiffany shows up. Kyle stands up for himself.
He does. Kyle's holding a fire extinguisher for some reason. I don't know why he's holding a fire extinguisher. I think it was to help fight this wrestler. He picks up a fire extinguisher. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, he stands up for himself. DJ Qualls is a good actor. He has been in stuff.
He is a good actor. He's typecast as this guy. He can act, but he's always going to be the wee skinny geek guy because he's got that look, unfortunately.
Did you ever see him in The New Guy?
I've never seen New Guy, I don't think.
He's the protagonist in that, and he's in the sort of college movie.
I might have seen it. It rings a bell.
Don't rush to see it, but
Okay.
do check it out. Fred Ward has a pistol out the whole time. I did see that note was in the past. I just wanted to see it again.
He points it at Tiffany, which is crazy.
The dad tries to attack Kyle, and to be fair, Stifler and the crew try to defend him.
Yep, they jump in. Even though this guy's packing with a pistol, they still jump in there. He shoots a fire extinguisher off here to no effect. Doesn't it?
It doesn't need to end.
The goggles do nothing.
Tiffany and Josh break up. She's realised this week that they are both young and at college and should be banging other people.
So basically, they're up in her room. Beth calls Tiffany looking for Josh.
What's happening in the background?
In the background, Josh is on the phone. He's stupidly left the package on Tiffany's bed. He's on the phone to Beth. They're talking about their feelings. He says, when I get back, we can sit down and talk, I promise. In the background, Tiffany's seen this package, took it out of the box, and is now starting to put the VCR into the VCR machine.
Oh, this is tense.
It is tense. It's tense because he's having this conversation. She's about to start watching the video.
He turns round.
At the very last minute. She's already started watching it. He's lying on the bed.
Amy Smart just walks into frame with her underwear
and
on.
Then Tom Green's big cooting right in your face.
Barry recorded over it, showing his ass on camera.
It's really funny, but like this whole time he's taped over any implications of cheating.
That 1 second still would have gotten caught.
Absolutely. So who's that? Whose arse was that?
This thing is just in the nick of time.
And then it just cuts to them back on the bus, and he's like, so we just decided to break up. And
It's
that's what
kind of
happens.
nice. He's like, we'll be friends forever. Like
yeah,
that.
he's
it's
like,
kind of nice.
we just decided that the timing's right. But she's still my best friend, but we need to live a little. So he cheats on her and is never really punished for being a total betraying arsehole. He just gets away with it.
Right, oh, come on.
It just feels like he needs to be punished. Maybe he should fail his
What are
test.
you talking about punished?
But like, there's no repercussions for his actions.
Come on, he's young. Like,
He's 42.
Not the character is 20 or like 21, man. Do you remember the male leads in the massively successful The Hangover?
I do remember that.
Do you think they were nice people?
No, not one of them was nice. They're all scumbags.
Todd Phillips does this. He paints scumbags, and you are supposed to root for them in a way. So Josh has 46 hours to learn philosophy before the major, and Ruben's going to teach him via wrestling sort of trigger words.
I mean, it kind of works. He says, do you like wrestling? And he says, yeah. And he's like, well, Socrates is like Vince McMahon. He started it all. He makes it there on time. They hightail it on this bus all the while. Ruben's teaching him philosophy in 48 hours or whatever, using pro wrestling lingo. He gets there, it says like 56 minutes late to the test. That's what it says at the bottom of the screen, am I right? He gets to the classroom and there's a bomb threat has been called in.
He runs into the lecture hall and there's a wee robot.
A wee robot and all these guys wearing hazmat suits. And he's like, is this the test or whatever he says?
He's a dafty, isn't he? He finds out that Beth has phoned in a bomb threat because Beth is cool, man.
Instead of like coming up with some other idea, she just likes to phone in a fake bomb threat. Again, this movie came out in the year 2000. You couldn't do this post 9/11.
Josh gets through the test. He looks like he's giving it his best, but I think he's just writing about the wrestling.
This is a bunch of wrestling shit.
Beth and Josh kiss, and we circle around this shot as we end this narrative.
This is a great shot. So they do the big kissing moment. It does a big spinning kiss, like in the kissing booth or in Titanic. And then it transitions to Barry, the tour guide, making out with his mum for earlier.
And the teenager is behind them, horrified.
Mom!
And he starts shaking and he's terrified. And he goes on to narrate that Josh got a B+, so he's still in college and they're still together.
They do this scene, they do a lot of these movies where they round up what's happened to everybody in the future. So it's like Josh got his B+, him and Beth are still together and they're still making tapes.
Jacob left. Jacob left
to become the leader of a cult
in Iowa.
But he drank the Kool-Aid first.
Oh, he leaves this college and starts a cult in Iowa, and he organises this mass suicide.
But he goes first.
He drinks it first, and as soon as they look at this corpse, they drop their
just turn around
cups
and
and
leave.
boost.
That's so funny.
That is a great ending.
It's so funny because we've got the villain getting a proper, like, a proper harsh.
Ruben uses cross-pollination to create a marijuana strain that is both incredibly potent and totally undetectable by any drug test.
Yeah, and it comes, what is it?
High Times Man
High
of the Year.
Times Man of the Year, and it's him in the front cover of this weed magazine. That's pretty funny.
The whole tour group think this is hilarious at this point.
EL, his only, like, they've all like done well for themselves. His only character progression is he's now in anal play.
He get pretty serious with some girl, and we find out that she's a nurse.
She's a med student or something.
We see her administer the prostate massage, and she asks 2 fingers.
And he says, better make it free.
A totally realistic thing for that character.
I'll go to the character, right?
And again, William Scott plays into it. It's cool, man.
Yeah. And it does show you Kyle is now made up with his dad, and he's now going out with Rhonda. And they've invited them round for Christmas dinner, is it? Or Thanksgiving?
He does the kind of, big eyes and eyebrows raised because he's brought a person of colour home for dinner. I
and
suspect.
Of course, he's a big Republican, he's a big Trumper.
It's
he's not happy with this.
Guess who's coming to dinner gag?
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Green stops the tour and shakes hands with people. Big Ethan Suplee comes up and hugs him and he's like, thanks, man. That was just... And these people are changed after this tour. They have heard the greatest story ever told.
And they're all saying that they're all going to see him next summer. They're all agreeing to go to this college.
The mum thanks him, and they have this cosmic, intimate moment.
He keeps on saying thank you. They're kissing and they're making out, and he goes, thank you.
They lower down to the ground, and he's like, thank you, mommy. Thank you, mommy. And he starts jerking. He's like, thank you, mom. Thank you, mom. Thank you, mommy. And he goes, ah.
And then the wee guy's still going, Mom!
And Tom Green's like, ah! 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 And he ends with, Mommy. And he goes, ah! And then he goes, ah!
And that's your credits.
We get this terrible cover of Anything by fucking Buck Cherry by the they covered Dramarama.
Aye.
See if you can't afford Dramarama, something's up with you.
I know, but it's going on with a soundtrack.
Road Trip 2000?
This was our formative years. This sort of shaped us for better or worse.
Rate this thing.
I loved this movie when I was a kid. Watching it back, I still laugh a lot. I think Tom Green's great in this movie. It's mental to think that not a lot of people know who Tom Green is now, unless you were from our sort of era. There's parts of this movie that did work, totally. I like the whole sort of guys... Camaraderie, yes, of it. It's a fun movie. It's got a little bit of heart as well at some moments. I'm not really into the whole... The sort of fat jokes don't really work for me. There's some stuff that hasn't aged well. The whole fact that they all want to watch the sex tape that they made in confidence isn't very good. Todd Phillips' toe sucking scene makes me cringe. All that being said, it's still a fun movie. I don't know if it's just nostalgia, which is why I still like it, or if it's just genuinely still holds up. But I laughed a lot, I enjoyed it. It's short. This movie is great runtime. What's it, 90 minutes? Yeah. Great 90-minute movie. I think maybe the unrated version's a bit better. That's the one I had when I was a kid. This was the theatrical one. But still, it's a good time. It's a fun, silly movie. And I think Thinking Coconuts here, 3.5 out of 5 coconuts.
I still like this movie. I think it's fun and one of the more kinda chilled sex comedies. I like this cast all over. Decent soundtrack, genuinely funny moments. I laughed out loud a few times. It does sit perfectly between American Pie 1 and 2. Smart and Meyer have a great chemistry. Meyer isn't a great actor, but he does have great chemistry with Amy Smart.
Yeah.
And you're kinda rooting for them. I adore Amy Smart and I like the character Beth. She gets to show her titties, then actually have stuff to do in the movie. She isn't punished for it. Phillips is interesting, man, and he's clearly matured beyond the sex comedy, but he does it well. It is from the male gaze, but they do comment on it. I watch Road Trip every few years and still enjoy it. I still think it's a fun movie. Sean William Scott's great. The fat shaming doesn't work when it just feels kind of that mean-spirited bit in an otherwise. It's a fun movie. 3.5 out of 5 coconuts.
Oh, it's too hot in here. Oh my god. Oh, I'm out of this. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Afternoon.
Sorry about the...
It's okay. I'll get it. Give me your hand!
Edward, I know that we haven't spoken in a few years. I need your help. I have a daughter. Her name is Rowan. She has been missing for 2 weeks now. I fear she is in danger, so now I turn to you. Be careful and believe nothing that you see or hear.
Lost your bearings?
Oh, hey. Sorry, snuck up on me there.
This is private property.
Do you know her?
I don't recognize this child.
Welcome. My little girl is still here. She has been taken by who I don't know.
I'll find her.
If she existed, we would know of her.
Whose desk is this,
Rowan? Hello?
You suspect foul play. The Wicker Man returns.
Who's the Wicker Man? I'm gonna search every inch of this town.
She'll burn to death. She burned to death.
I need your help.
Daddy.